My name is Christy Busby, and you are about to listen to the next episode of my podcast called F.A.T.E, From Atheism to Enlightenment. So come on in, join me. We're going to talk about it all, from atheism to enlightenment. Alrighty, guys, here we go. Get ready, and welcome to your F.A.T.E. Next episode of F.A.T.E. How's everybody doing out there? On today's show, I have a gentleman. They call him Niko the Medium. He is an evidence and trance medium, an author. He has his own podcast called Noah Speaks. Noah will be joining us later. And he is here to tell us his journey, how he's helping others awaken and get on their own soul path. Niko, welcome to your F.A.T.E, my friend. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Christy. Thank you for having me. Hello, everybody. I'm doing fantastic, and I'm honored to be part of this show. So thank you again.
I'm so excited to have you here. I've actually listened to you and did a little research on you, and I find you fascinating. And I'm very interested in your journey, how you got to be where you are today. And that's where I'd like to start the conversation. How did you get to be where you're at? Tell us your journey. Did you have an awakening? Were you born with these gifts? Let's get into it.
Well, let's start with, it's not a gift. We all have the same potential and ability to connect with spirit because we are spirit. This is the whole confusion, the whole mix-up, the whole awakening process has happened that we'll get into momentarily. I actually had a few moments that defined my understanding. Now, I came from a Greek Orthodox faith, so it was very taboo to even speak about this, devil's worshiping, that kind of stuff. So it was always, a double-edged sword. Whatever I experienced, my family and friends would tell me I was nuts. Don't follow that. It's cult. So it was very frightening because I didn't know who to believe. I tried to believe people around me that supposedly knew, or the elders in the churches who were the professionals, or my own gut, my own intuition. So it was very challenging for most of my life. When I was a kid, about 6 or 7, around that time, 3 celestial beings appeared through my window. It was really cool. It was like, the Wizard of Oz, where Glinda comes in a little bubble, became bigger and bigger. That's what happened in my room. And it was incredible. When they didn't speak, but when I could feel that they were speaking to me, of course, that frightened me at a young age. I called my mother. I do remember that she ran into the room and she didn't see them. I'm like, you can't see them? They're right there. You can't see them? So she thought I had imaginary friends and they would kind of placate me, but I knew they were real. And after they left, I could sense their energy. That's when my sensitivity to the feeling presence near me began, that I was aware of, and continues to this day. My cousin, we were closer than brothers, we were in a car accident, somebody hit us, he was driving, he passed away. Even during that time, that entire year after he passed, he was in the coma. During that time, he was constantly speaking to me. He was constantly making his presence known to me. I would walk down the city streets in New York, and there's a lot of street lights. As soon as I passed it, the light would go off. When I was under, the light would go off, and when I passed it, go back on again. This can go on for 3, 4 blocks. And I was with friends, and they kept looking at the light like, what the hell's going on? I knew what it was. I was going to tell them, and they thought I was nuts. So a year after his passing, I was walking through a park going home, and he spoke to me like we're speaking to each other right now, and explained to me that there is no end, there is no life or death, there is no heaven and earth, just a lot of things that wasn't really registering in my mind. He also sat and pointed out that my sensitivity to feeling spirit will be vital for my growth and for my future. So then, of course, being in New York, a very loud and noisy place, I shelved it. I just kept shelving it. I was too busy with life, and the people I was with, they didn't believe it. I went to New Mexico on a trip. Another wonderful sage opened me up to a lot of these things. That was only my first taste of it. I moved to California. Some people believed, some didn't. And then I went back to New York, and again, I shelved the whole thing. So it wasn't until my divorce in 2015 that I decided I needed a trip, and I moved. I came to this Greek island that my father was born on, and my cousin appeared to me, like a visual, like a hologram. And he was speaking to me. He was in there for an hour. Now, at that point, I didn't understand what that was. Throughout my development, I understand it's all about the auric field. It's where your presence, your essence resides. It's not in the body. I always thought it was. It was just so much learning over the last few years um, that I decided I had to move here. Through my divorce, I sold off everything. I moved here like 8 years ago, 9 years ago, whatever it's been. And it was incredible. And in the silence of this Greek island, I just kept continuing to explore. I took courses. I did past life regressions, angel oracle card healing. I became a Reiki master. I went to evidential mediumship. Nothing really felt like home. It was nice, but then when I went into trance mediumship, it all clicked. And now today, these days, those first three celestial beings are the ones that speak to me in trance. So that's a beautiful, circle back home. Yeah, it's a fantastic.
Yeah.
But there's a lot because I just thought I was on it for my own journey. And a little over 2 years ago, my team kept nudging gently, nicely, telling me, okay, you're going to start teaching classes. I'm like, I'm not teaching. I was resistant the same way I was back in New York. So I started teaching courses. Now that has evolved to a lot of various topics in the same genre. Then they told me I was going to start performing or offering trance demonstrations. I did that. Then they nudged me to write a trilogy, and I did that. I just published my last book, and I thought I was finished. And now they're like, no, you just created, you just started. And they said there was something that I'm going to start building the first complete cosmology of consciousness, written from the inside the architecture, not about it. So I did some research. There are no books like that. It's always from the human perspective. So I'm like, okay, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And then of course they just a few months ago said start doing a podcast. So I'm just kind of going with it. I'm having a great time. I'm evolving a lot, and there's a lot of transformation. That's really what it is. It's great that I could be the vessel for spirit and offer insight and guidance to the world. But I've transformed a lot, and I've learned a lot, or remembered a lot. So it's a beautiful, complete journey. I'm grateful to be part of it. I'm very humbled.
I love this. You're also like, and I consider myself in this category as far as like, if I have, any evolved senses, I'm not aware of it yet. But one of the things that's really kind of what I enjoy about even speaking to you in these first few minutes is that you're so not typical woo-woo. You sound still very New Yorker, tough New Yorker, but you sound super real, authentic, instead of trying to be an overly something person. I don't know, still your authentic self, but a more evolved intellectual person. Anyways, that's just my first take out of the gate.
You know what it is? It's remembrance, because the more you kind of hit your human awareness expands into your consciousness. Your soul is your consciousness, the funnel of consciousness. I write about that. I speak about that. The more you kind of evolve back into the consciousness and you're in the realm of the higher self or your oversoul, the more remembrance floods back in. I'm not viewing and I'm not learning through the human, because that's where it's difficult. You see, we have this human identity, and that's how we perceive ourselves in this world. And it's great, it's intentional in order to become deeply rooted in the human experience, which is fantastic, but you're not meant to forget the entire journey. So people that are trying to become enlightened or awakened, there are many definitions. It's like, okay, I recognize I have spirit teams, or I even have a higher self, but they don't really go further than that. To them, that's it. And they're still viewing it from the lens of their human form. So awakening is misunderstood in this world. It's not an external force that you're connecting to. It's recognizing that you're not the human identity, you're the human self. It's still your own soul, your own essence, experiencing the human journey, but you're part of a structure. So the more we recognize that, the more you awaken to that, the more you embody the human self and let go of the human identity. You're also letting go of ego, expectations, judgment, and all that stuff is gone. A lot of people that are spiritual, and good for them, they're still viewing it from the human lens. So they're still carrying a lot of that ego and a lot of the status and pat me on my back and what have you. And that's their journey. I'm not going to sit there and reprimand them. It's their journey. But the way I look at it, it's not a true awakening. That's not meant to say they're not going to reach that plateau. I believe everybody reaches it, because somewhere in your life, through the spirit connection and through the continuous reminding, you hit that mark. And that's when you start
Yeah.
viewing the world through the lens of your higher self rather than from your human form, and it totally changes. I'm not going to ever stop being the New Yorker. I can't reverse my past because I don't want to, because that was created intentionally from my higher self for me to live that life, to experience all that I have. Now, though, when I rewind the tape, I view it from the lens of my higher self, and every single moment had its purpose. Even those relationships that you can't stand them at the end, they broke your heart. I offer my utmost gratitude, honor, and respect to them, because that soul, not the person, the soul, offered me an opportunity to experience pain on a deeper level that I probably wouldn't have anyway. So it's all about growth. Those are soul agreements we speak of. So it's incredible. But it's just that everybody in this world keeps looking from the ground up. And that's the whole entire answer. Somebody said to me, what's the trick? What's the answer? How do you get where you are? How do I get there? For another podcast, somebody asked me that, and I said, recognize how you're viewing it. That's exactly what it is. It's the vertical stack, if you will, right? We see it from below. So most people begin from the bottom and try to work their way up, right? Look, they say, I am this person. I have a soul. I might have a higher self. Maybe there is an oversoul. Maybe there is a God. So their map looks like a ladder that stretches somewhere above them, right? But the real architecture where the awakening lies is to view it the other way around, from above down, right? The creator is the boundless field. From that field, a perceiver emerges. That's you, your first origin. That's the awareness within a vantage. From the perceiver, an oversoul emerges. This is how a matrix of lifetimes is created and stored so the perceiver can learn. Again, you, oversoul, you, right? And then from that oversoul, a higher self emerges. That's the guiding vantage for this lifetime, another aspect of you. And then from the higher self, your awareness emerges, the me that wakes up in the morning and tries to make sense of this. So if we look at it that way, you don't climb up to the perceiver. You are the perceiver looking down through all of this. So you're not somewhere at the bottom trying to get to the top. You are the one at the top, momentarily identify with the bottom. So when you feel small,
that's brilliant.
When you feel small, it's because you are looking from the character's eyes and forgetting you are also the one holding the book.
That's brilliant. I mean, we are so unaware of the true nature of who we are. And we're so programmed to believe that we are not powerful, that we are not, so far in my journey, what I have learned is that, and you tell me, because you have such a deeper knowledge than I do at this point in my journey, but it feels like, number one, life on this planet is more like a school to evolve, to expand, and to grow your consciousness. It feels like there's universal laws out there that we all have to abide to, that none of us are even aware of, whether it be the law of attraction, karmic, cause and effect, and all those universal laws. There really isn't any heaven, hell, God-like spirit that's going to judge us when we die.
Correct.
It is all a matter of learning and growing and having an experience from an alternative perspective.
Correct.
And the more I learn, it's just fascinating to me how unaware humans are of our own divinity and what we're really supposed to be doing while we're here on this plane. And the fact that we come back here and learn more and more in each incarnation that we're here. So, I mean, you tell me, am I right, or am I on the right track?
You're most of what you said is pretty accurate. Most of what you said also comes from the definition of a human perspective, right? There is no karma.
Yes,
There is nobody
there.
judging us. Okay, there is no past lives. We have parallel lives. So that's the whole thing. If your funnel of consciousness is a projection from the oversoul, and your higher self is an aspect of you that's guiding and navigating this journey that you are physically experiencing, there's multiple ones, not just this. And then in parallel realities don't have to be in other planets or the dimension. It could be this one, right? Where you live right now, you see it through your lenses that your reality, it could be split in two because there's no such thing as time. Time can be bent, altered without your perception of this physical realm. You might have had a traumatic experience or really bad breakup 10, 20 years ago, and that split the trajectory. You're continuing in this line, but there's another you in that reality continuing that line. So maybe that loved one that somebody grieves never died. Maybe you're the one that died. See, we don't know, and we're not supposed to know. We're supposed, our awareness is just on what we can see and navigate in this life. But you always sense there's something more. Everybody does. There's always something more. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. Or you always feel a presence, something like behind you or near you when you're at your most difficult moment of your life. These are not random. So are synchronicities. You know, the repeated numbers, 1111, 333, a bird.
Yeah.
These are not random. The same exact way, if you meet somebody, a total stranger, you feel this connection to them. Like, I've known you before. Now, I never met you before, but I know I've known you before. Or you walk into somebody's home or somebody or a building or a street, and you're like, I've been here before. Now, first time we're here. So it doesn't make sense logically to the human, but your soul recognizes it because there's much more happening. That's why there's parallel lives,
So
because there's no time. So if there's no time, there can't be a past, present, future. Even the future you is living already right now. And this is what we understand. That's how we recognize we're not meant to associate only with the human identity. So Niko, the father, a son, a brother, a friend, that's what people view they are, their existence. And they take that as the core foundation. And then that's the springboard. Okay, now let me get rich and let me get the nicest house. And let me get the perfect wife and the perfect kids or whatever.
Yeah.
That's not it. It's just an identity. It's a role you're playing. It's a role. That's all it is. And there's many roles. It's like an actor, you know, being on a long running Broadway show and that ends and they still think they're the actor and they become that persona rather than who they first were. You can't do that. And that's what awakening is, to recognize that a lot of things that were taught in this world is wonderful. It kind of offers some sort of structure, but even in the olden days, they didn't have the vocabulary for it. Okay, so they used whatever they was known then. Okay, even Jesus, even biblical studies, all these things are great, but in order for the religious institutions to exist in government agencies, they had to fear the masses in order to gain control. So all of this is fear. That's why people fear trance. Trance is the purest form of communication. Trance was the first purest modality connecting with spirit centuries ago. Because trance reminded people, you don't need an intermediary. You don't need to go to any religious institution to connect to your loved ones or to connect to the spirit. You do it yourself because you are spirit. So they had to ban trance.
That's right.
And they had to instill fear. Even the witches of Salem, they were trance mediums. You know, all of them were trance mediums because they were connecting and they didn't know what they were doing. They had no label, no vocabulary for it. And they still fear it to this day. Because if 1,000 people tell you to fear trance and you've never tried it, you're going to fear it. And yet everybody enters the trance state, going to sleep and waking up in the morning. The whole planet.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's, you know, when you start breaking it down, the choice is, do you want to continue to be sheep or you want to be the sheep herder? That's it.
We're so pumped full of fear of things like this. And religion, people are very dogmatic about their religious beliefs. They're fearful to go outside of what their preacher or priest or elder or whatever. And, you know, this fear of going to hell, of being judged by God is real for a lot of people out there. I say on the show all the time, did you escape organized religion? Because I did. I was an atheist for years before I had my awakening. And I'm not on the level of your awakening because I probably still see things a lot more from my egoic mind than I do from my higher self. But I'm working on it. I know that I'm going to get there.
There's no race.
You
There's
know?
no race.
Yeah, I mean, it's a journey, yo. You know it is. How did you navigate your own? You said you grew up in the church and people were chastising you. How did you become to overcome that? Or were you just, you know, for me, I was always been very strong and I could always do whatever I wanted. And others people's opinion didn't matter to me? Is that how
Y-
did you handle it?
I was what they refer to as a closet medium for 3 years before I actually opened my
Oh,
Facebook page, Niko Medium, publicly because a friend of mine, asked me to make it public so she couldn't um, post it on her page and advertise my first class that I was teaching at the time. And I was like, wait. If I'm going to go public, that means my family and friends are going to know. So I knew there was going to be backlash. I
right.
wrote about this in my first book and my second book, actually. Um, but I did it. I just felt it. My team was like, just do it. I felt the inner nudge in my house. Was like, just do it. Don't worry about it. It was a lot more brutal than I anticipated. Like my parents stopped speaking to me. My one sister, my friends, my cousin, they just thought I was a psycho and just walked away. It hurt in the beginning, but then when I realized what is hurting, the human identity, not my soul, not my human self, is part of the journey, right? And also you have to realize that these are soul agreements. So if they're going to stop speaking to me, that was part of the agreement. So I can experience that pain.
Yeah.
And now that they're trying to come back from the back door to, be my friend again, I'm like, why? What's the point? I don't want to hear your critique. So now this is
Oh,
the
interesting.
soul agreement has two sides. Maybe that's what I agreed to. Now total silence so they can experience what their changes are going to be. So we can't bend for everybody else. You have to follow your gut. You see, you have to just follow. I went to church here on the island, what was it, 2, 3 years ago? And I went for Easter, Ash Wednesday. We have Holy Wednesday, and you get the oil instead of the ash. So I went there. I don't even know why I went. It's just customary, whatever. And the priest said to me, okay, I'll do it, but you have to promise me you're going to stop what you're doing. I go, what am I doing, Father? And he's like, you're connecting with the devil. I said, really? I said, let me ask you a
Oh,
question. I said, when you're on the altar, do you feel spirit? He goes, all the time. I said, so do I. Do you think you're dealing with the devil? He goes, of course not. I go, neither am I. He goes, you can't feel spirit. I go, why? Because I didn't go to seminary school. And he was stumped.
exactly.
That's the teaching. That's the teaching. You
Yep.
see, only I, because I became a priest, only I can communicate with God. You can't. So come to
Right.
church, pay
That's right.
your dues, keep coming, to find salvation. You're
That's
going to go
right.
to hell because this is the teaching that's just passed down generation to generation. So I don't bother me. I
Yes.
live in a small village, and even they look at me. A few years ago, they were kind of nervous when I walked around, but now they accept me. I don't bother anybody. I do my own thing, and that's what it is. You have to let
It's
go.
fascinating. And
See, you can't
I've been told by a couple of, go
you
ahead.
can't let go. And I wrote about that in the first book. I was trying to stay on the fence. I didn't want to come out of the
Oh,
closet. I don't want my family to know. I didn't want to really push into this realm because I really wasn't sure if I knew and had the answers people asked me. And then I realized through insight, through dreams, through meditation, through trance sessions, I kept receiving the same exact insight saying, it's not you sitting on the fence because there is no fence. It's still your essence.
mm,
You're creating the fence. You're creating the illusion of separation, of division. Get that out of your mind because you're not the human identity. So I've been told this now for years. It's just the last 6 months, 8 months that I really put it into effect, and I can see the difference. Now I start teaching it. I start preaching it because that's what it is. Again, I'm a stubborn, analytical New Yorker. It takes me a little bit of time. I get it. I intellectualize it. It makes sense. But that's where you break the old habits and what you clinged on to be true.
yeah.
So that takes time. So I don't pressure anybody. It's not a race. I tell them it'll happen. But when it does happen, and I'm living proof of this, I've been resisting most of my life. Even the trance mediumship, I
Yeah.
resisted the change afterwards, even though I let them speak effortlessly. And I teach evidential and I teach all classes, and I just tell people, don't force it, don't rush it, don't reach for it, let it come naturally. It's the part that we're supposed to honor is to implement that you feel the unconditional love and the spirit safety and the spirit encouragement and the patience into our human life. And that's the part that you have to let go of the conditioning of the mind, of what you believe was true, of the human identity. And when you do that, you realize there is no fence you're standing in the middle of, is one flow. And that's where I'm at now. And that's why I'm trying to keep preaching that. And I'm patient with everybody because Phil was patient with me a lot more than I would have been patient with me.
What is the difference between, like, you call yourself an evidential medium? and other people I talk to just call themselves like psychic mediums or something like that.
Yeah.
How do they differ? Because
Okay.
I'm
So
not.
psychic medium is more mental mediumship, as is the teaching of evidential mediumship. So again, what psychic medium is, I'm going to focus on the energy of your auric field. So like
Uh,
throughout your life, at 6 years old, something traumatic happened, and there's an imprint in your auric field that stays there. As I scan your auric field, I go 6 years old, around 5, 6, 7 years old, something traumatic happened to you. And then I focus on what that is, and I'm kind of psychically telling you what's happening with your life or what happened then. And then I kind of give you a scan of your life. And it's great, but I'm focusing on you and your energetic field. Evidential mediumship is different, where it's like a triangle. You're my sitter, I'm the medium, and I'm connecting with your spirit loved one. So I become a channel. But what they do, what pretty much every single evidential mediumship does, which is why they dubbed it mental mediumship, is they're in their mind. And they keep speaking to you, really from spirit, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And there's a lot of thinking involved. So what about that in my third book? I'm like, if the medium is so busy thinking about spirit and you as the sitter are so busy thinking about all the facts they're giving you, if you can place it or understand it, they're basically throwing out 25 pieces of information, of evidence, in 10 sticks. And everybody's thinking. So if everybody's thinking, who's feeling spirit? So I teach evidential differently. I don't rely on the mind, because that's human. And the way you rely on the mind, it's your human interpretation. So I might be getting a purple apple and say, you know what, it makes no sense to me. I'm going to say red apple. And I interpret what I'm receiving, and then the evidence isn't as solid, and you're not receiving a pure reading. So I keep teaching my evidential students. I even have a free weekly circle. All your listeners are welcome to join. You can find it on Facebook, Niko Medium. It's listed there. I don't work with mental mediumship. I don't really focus on the sitter, on the receiver. I trust spirit. I feel spirit, because we are all spirit. We're all energy, and all energy is emotion, right? The human brain cannot create emotion. The intuitive mind, the energetic field creates emotion. The brain interprets it. So when you feel emotion and you feel essence, that's pure. The brain can't create that. It's not wired that way. So the more you feel spirit and you feel the emotion behind it, you'll hear me saying, I feel your mom is here, and I'm feeling your mom was very loving, and I'm feeling the name Gladys is connected to her, or whatever the case is. I'm just kind of going with it. And then every so often I'll stop and I'll ask the sitter, can you understand that? Yeah, I can. But then because of trance mediumship, I blend very powerfully with the essence that one remembers as their mother, because it's not their mother anymore, because they're not relying on a past identity or one lifetime. There are many identities, many lifetimes. It's still the essence. That's what you recognize and you feel. So the more I connect to it, now they'll speak directly through me to you, and you'll feel them in your space, in your atmosphere. You might even feel a hand touching you. You hear the voice. It might not sound exactly like a male's voice, but it changes a bit, or they might say a certain thing that they always said. At that point, I'm not really in it mentally, because I've already separated myself. And trance mediumship is different. Trance mediumship, I'm very much attuned to my own auric energetic expanse, where all spirit communication blends and merges in this space, not coming up and down. They're not visiting me. They're already here. And my team blends with my breath. My breath is my auric field, right? So the misinterpretation is that our soul is in our body. That's not possible, because your soul is extremely powerful. And I wrote about that in my third book. It's as if you're trying to harness a thunderstorm into a teacup. Can't happen. Can't happen. So because it can't happen, when the baby's born into the world, it has brain activity and a heartbeat, but no breath. It has liquid in the lungs. There's no breath. Then the breath appears. What happens here is your higher self claims that body as the vessel and surrounds it with your energy, your essence, your auric field, which is a projection from your oversoul. And your breath anchors into the physical form, hence giving the life force to the physical form, because it comes from the life force of that funnel of consciousness. So all in that auric field is spirit communication. So even this is not random, because we just met each other now, but our souls agreed for this to happen at this specific time on this specific journey. So because of that, a fragment of my soul essence is in your field and yours is in mine. That happens with everybody. So evidential mediumship, what are you doing? You're pulling from your own energetic field because the sitter's portion, fragment of their soul is in yours, and you're connected instantly to their lost level that's in theirs. It's all connection of energy. It's nothing to do with the mind. The trance is them speaking through my breath. The same way my breath now, which is my soul, creates sound in my vocal cords, they use the same exact formula to speak to you. I'm just very much in tune with them. It's a blending, and then it changes a different tone or pitch or accent comes out because that's more their personality. That's all the difference is.
That is fascinating, and I don't think anybody's quite explained the way that it all works like that. So that is like hot off the presses, like that's fascinating to me. I love this. Let's get into the trance side of your life here and talk about what type of beings come through you. You know, you talked about other like passed on spirits maybe coming through you.
So
What other communication do you have with other higher beings in life?
So as we said, the oversoul, right, is the totality of all your incarnations. The perceiver is your original you, and that's from the God, from the Creator. So then your oversoul is your totality, your library that stores every emotion, every memory, every single incarnation is there. For this incarnation that you know, your higher self is created, which is you. And then a fragment of that breaks down like a space capsule, comes down, and it embodies it surrounds the human form and creates this auric field that's connected to this funnel. Your higher self is now overseeing your incarnation, and there's many other parallel ones going on right now. So in that funnel, to me, my human self with this human body, only the higher self allows a specific other essence, soul essences to enter for trance or evidential. Only the higher self. Which is why a lot of times the media, a sitter will say, I want to speak to my father, and yet the mother comes through. Because it's not what they want. It's what their higher self knows they need for their journey. So my higher self will only bring forth whatever is needed for the sitter's journey, regardless of what they want, and it always proves to be very pivotal for them. My higher self allows these guides to come forth and blend, which speaks to me in trance. Your higher self allows your loved ones to come near to offer you the comfort while you're grieving and to help shift your awareness into this feel like, oh, what's this? And then connect. Everyone has a role. So you're not going to connect to your higher self because you're not even aware of the higher self. So your lost loved ones, like my cousin, was the first one in my funnel that I paid attention to. Like I knew this, I felt safe, I trusted it. And then my cousin led me to certain team members, spirit team members. And then those spirit team members led me to my higher self. It's all progressive. So those three beings or celestial beings, they don't have an oversoul because they've never had a spiritual or physical body. So they're in the other stratosphere. They're up here where the perceiver is, the creator is, them, archangels, they're all there. I couldn't reach that vibrational frequency match when I was still learning, when I was still trusting, when I was trying to let go of the human identity and failing, or my perception of failing. You never fail, it's all part of the journey. So other guides came through who have had physical incarnations that could relate to the emotional human conflict and traumas and pains, and they were healing me while I was accepting them. That's what happens. That's what they call the spirit team. They each have their role to play, if you will, for you to shift your awareness to your remembrance. While your vibrational field is expanding, you're elevating your higher frequencies rather than the 3D realm, thinking I'm only this human identity and I have to die to go to heaven, and this whole teaching we have, until finally I could reach the point where those three guides connect with me in trance. They come as a collective of three. They don't reveal who they are because they don't want the focus to be on the messenger. They want the focus to be on the message. So they refer to themselves as a collective name of Noah. Now, even that, I used to think that is three archangels connecting with me in my funnel and speaking through this form with me. Your perceiver, the perceiver does not have voice, God cannot speak, the perceiver cannot speak, the oversoul cannot speak, the higher self cannot speak. They're on a much different vibrational frequency. There's no language. It's very powerful vibrational currents that will overwhelm the nervous system of the body to make it form words. So that's why we have our spirit team. They're buffers, if you want to say that. They assist. They translate that higher frequency communication into a softer human communication, because they were human. They know how. They have it in their structure. And that's what this whole thing is. It's still the personality, the insight, and the wisdom of those three archangels. But I don't even know which other spirit team member is being the hollow translator, if you want to call it. Nor do I really care.
Is Noah like your spirit team?
Yes.
Is that basically what you're saying? Is that is your
They're
spirit
all
team?
spirit team. No, the spirit team members are many. So your spirit team members should be your lost
Okay.
loved one. I used to have other guys that spoke to me when I was first in trance. I had some judge 100 years ago that was a medium. I had a Native American Indian. Some female came through. Even the galactic being had come through a few times. So I had different ones, and they changed every so often. Now it's the core is these three archangels as one collective. So it's all your spirit team, but they're not labeled spirit team as we know them, because they're utilizing other spirit team members to be the funnel into this passageway to speak through the human form. They're too powerful of a vibration. Even your higher self and your oversoul are you, but they're not your spirit team.
Let me ask you this, and this is, I know Noah's going to be joining us in a few, but is there a hierarchy? Like,
No.
for instance, thank you for saying that, because I'm extremely egalitarian at my core for whatever reason. Like, I just want everyone to be treated the same. My interpretation of what God is basically everything, every plant, animal, everything in existence is touched by God, is guide, embodies what we would say consciousness, being alive. Everybody has a journey. Like, what is your definition of it? Is there a God? And what is God? What is creation?
Absolutely.
Is that
This
God?
is also in my new book that I'm writing. Okay, when most people say God, source, the divine, right, they're reaching for something
Yes.
vast that they can feel but not see. It's a sense of origin, of intelligence, of something that existed before anything else, right? So I'm going to use a different word,
Yes.
the creator. Okay, not because it's more religious, but because it's more neutral. I don't mean a man in the sky, a personality, or a separate being making decisions. I mean the most basic reality, a vast living field of conscious existence. Right here, there's no beginning, no end, no edge, no shape. Not a person, not a someone, just isness that knows it exists, right? So if you could remove every galaxy, every universe, every soul, every oversoul, every guide, every realm, every idea, and every form, what would remain is the creator, pure, undivided consciousness. So this is not no me, no you, no there, no here, right? Just an infinite aware field. That is the starting point, not a throne, a field. So now the obvious question comes, if the creator is so vast and formless, how do you exist? That's what people get all mixed up. All right. How does anything individual appear inside something that has no edges, no boundaries, and no separate pieces? Right. This is where the perceiver enters. This is where nobody teaches this. Many spiritual traditions try, but didn't have the right words. This is the first movement inside the infinite, right? So at some point that cannot be placed in a lifetime, this boundless field of consciousness does something very simple and very profound. It generates a point of view within itself. Again, not a body, not a personality, not a soul in the human sense, a point of view. A tiny shift from there is only awareness to awareness is now looking from here. Okay, so that subtle shift from field to vantage is what I call the perceiver. So the perceivers now is not a separate being floating in space. It is the creator folding in on itself just enough to form stable perspective. So if the creator is an endless ocean, the perceiver is the first wave that rises and can say, I am. Still the ocean,
Yeah.
still made of water, but now it has a location, a contour, a view. So the perceiver is the first time the creator becomes a specific witness. Again, not a body, not a life, not a universe. Simply, I am aware that I am aware. That is the perceiver, okay? So to understand your own nature, the perceiver is awareness with advantage, the origin of your I, the witness that does not belong to any one lifetime, the one that will experience every oversoul you ever have. But the perceiver is not the creator itself. It is born from the creator. A soul doing a human lifetime, that's not the perceiver either. Right? The perceiver is not an oversoul managing reincarnations. The perceiver is not a guide, an angel, a spirit communicator. The perceiver is not the higher self. It's just behind all of those. The creator is the field. The perceiver is the first point inside that field that can perceive. Everything else, oversoul, higher self, human awareness comes after. So if you imagine the creator as pure light filling all space, the perceiver is like a single clear lens placed in that light. The light hasn't changed, but now there is a way for the light to look. So you, me, everyone listening is a pure light, is a lens placed in the light of the creator. That lens is still made of light. It has never left the field, but now there's direction, focus, and the beginning of an individual journey. We've never left the field. Our original me is still in that field. So again, if I ask you, if we're already there, we never left, where are we returning to? When they say I'm returning to heaven, I better be good. What is this? This is human teaching from a minimal lens mind frame. Does that make sense?
Yes. 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 It's so the nature of our reality and what all this is so much more complex and multi-layered and bigger than we were ever told. I don't think we were ever taught who we are. And I know that there is, I feel a great awakening and expansion happening in the global consciousness, and more people are questioning everything. We're in a new age. We're in the age of Aquarius. And I personally think for centuries, it has been kept from us intentionally. So we're not awakening to who we are. So we don't understand the power that lies within. But I think that's changing. I think there's a tsunami of people that are starting to ask the right questions and starting to get into meditation and starting to look within and listen into their intuition. It is one of the most exciting times to be alive because we are witnessing the awakening of the human consciousness. And what better time to be here than to witness this incredible journey that I think not everybody's going to awaken, but there is this, I think it's now just like a matter of time that people are just going to awaken to the true nature and understand that religion has failed us. And I hate to bash religion. I know it gives people a lot of peace and makes them feel better, but I think they're almost afraid to look beyond the bounds of religion, and it just keeps them locked in a mindset of fear and of guilt and of not feeling worthy and looking to somebody else for their power. I think people need to take their own power back and understand who we are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was definitely an awakening happening. And yeah, you know, I see what you're saying about bashing religion or blaming religion or government or whatever, but it's also the entire species. You know, how we view each other, how we judge each other, how we compete with each other.
Yes.
Because again, all of it, religious institutions, governmental agencies, people, species, humanity, we're all believing with the human identity. It comes back to that. It's a circle back to that again. And I think that's what this awakening wave is about, is because the more we sense spirit, the more people actually do open up and go into trance and learn it just to connect. I tell people, you don't have to be a trance medium, connect with your loved ones. So I have a lot of grieving parents or widows that ask me, how can I learn about trance? And they feel the presence of their loved ones, and they communicate with them through sensations, and they know that they're still around. They never left. You know, the
Yep.
other courses that are more advanced, I explain the funnel of consciousness. I explain the Perceiver's Now new teaching. It just expanded awareness, and people are just stopping, pausing, listening, asking. It's not always setting with them. It'll take time for them to unravel the condition of the mind. But I planted the seeds. That's what I could do. So if I'm doing it,
Yeah.
imagine how many people are on this planet are doing it. And that's how it starts.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
slow integration, but it'll happen.
I think the start of understanding really who we are is understanding our egoic minds and not always giving in to whatever um, initial gut egoic reaction to emotions, to stimuli, that we don't ever take a moment, ask ourselves, why am I feeling this way? Or what is this trying to teach me? Or just being present.
Yeah.
That is the one thing I have kind of like achieved so far is understanding my egoic mind serves a purpose, but it doesn't always lead us to our highest and greatest because it wants to fulfill its own needs before anybody
Yeah.
else. And I think that if people understood the nature of the ego more and were to pay attention to it, they would be able to understand more about how to deal with their emotions. We don't know how to understand how to deal with our emotions. We don't.
Well, let me give you a little twist here, okay? Well, we said earlier that
Ooh,
when the human body is delivered into this realm, your higher self claims the body. Your higher self surrounds the body with your auric field, the funnel, your essence, and the breath anchors into the body, right? But the higher self also in the body, it places a portion of its own awareness into the body and the brain. So even though the breath is your essence, so is a portion of awareness, hence your intuition comes directly from the higher self. That's the point. Now, when the higher self places the awareness into the human brain, the human body, that also opens a portal, a doorway that the higher self is the one that manipulates your ego.
oh,
So when we think the ego is driving me crazy, the ego is making me do this, it's intentional. So you're always navigating this realm with two perspectives, two lenses. When they say free will, that's what they mean. You get to select which of the lens you want to follow. Do you follow the intuition or you follow your mind? Yet the higher self is manipulating both. That's how you remain aligned in your journey. So there's always you controlling you or guiding you or helping you, always. But when we, as humans, we don't see that. It's still, we're taught separation, heaven and earth, right? Realms, galaxies, and everything becomes separation at that point. My ego is different than my mind. My identity is different from yours. And everything becomes a competition and judging and separation. The entire structure of the earthly realm is like that. So spirit is a whole different structure. There's no separation. And that's what enlightenment is, to realize there's no separation. So now you can view it everywhere around you. Any word somebody says, you know exactly what that's rooted in separation. Everything. And then you just offer a little bit of insight here and there, because you're not going to shift everyone's trajectory overnight, but you help them. You just help place a little tidbit here, a little bit there of knowledge, you know, and that's what you're meant to do. But it's fascinating. So even I don't rely on my ego anymore, because that sheds with the human identity, right? So now when I'm my human self and I honor that, I'm viewing this existence from the lens of my higher self. And I know if my ego kicks in, if somebody attacks me that I care for and a trigger point goes up, it's like a smile. Like, I turn to my higher self, I'm like, what's going on? What did I really learn? What did I miss? I don't let it affect me the way it did anymore, because I know my higher self is the one manipulating it. It's like a shared joke between us, an inside joke, you know? I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to know here? What do you mean? It doesn't affect me anymore, because pain is not a reality. It's part of this illusion of this world. But you're meant to feel it so your higher self can understand the pain. But after the early parts of your journey, you felt all this pain already. Now it's time to awaken. That's why we don't teach this in first grade. So you can go on and continue to explore and live unaware to experience the pain, so your higher self learns the wisdom of the pain born, not the pain itself. There's no memories retained. You see, even the spirit guys, the
Yeah.
spirit level that come through, they don't come in with memory like we retain memory as
Mm,
humans, but they remember the emotion. Emotion is always felt. So see, so you're
yeah.
never alone in this
Yeah.
journey. There's never your decision to make as a human. Isn't that amazing?
That is fascinating. 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 I love it. All right. I would love to get into a little session with the collective called Noah. This is my very first time experiencing
And
anything like
be
this.
cool.
So
You always remember the first.
I mean, one of the reasons why I asked you if there was a hierarchy, because I really just want to be myself and be like truly authentic and speak to them like they were my buddy and not a higher being, because it's hard for
That's
me to
exactly
like
what you should do.
go that
That's
route.
exactly what you should do.
Okay.
And people, they normally tell people just, we're all connected because again, what I've learned through them in a loving way is that even you and I right now, we are not communicating human to human. We're communicating essence to
Mm,
essence through the human vessels. We're never human to human.
yep.
So your essence communicates with their essence through this physical vessel. So it's not even you as a human speaking to them. It's your essence connecting with theirs. They don't connect to the physical
Where are
form.
you gonna
Where do I go?
where are you gonna yeah, where are you gonna be during our little Noah conversation? Where are you gonna be?
So what this is the awareness, the portion of the awareness that the higher self puts into your brain. The same portion is my awareness that allows me to go into this funnel of consciousness, and it's expansive. So the more I just relax and I let go, and my breathing is regulated, I'm very comfortable. I'm getting comfortable. I have no distractions. Nothing's going to alert me back to this human world. I just expand. I go further and further and further. It's not wide. It's not up. It's just everywhere. I've definitely many times I've done it. It's a cross overlapping of consciousness, right? So even all those parallel lives is the same consciousness. It cross overlaps. So sometimes my awareness might pop me in another scene that I'm in another life. I can see hands, and they're not even mine. Maybe they're female hands. Like, oh, I know these are our hands, but it's not my hands. I can hear voices. I can hear the vibration of the voice being the same as mine, but what comes out is somebody else's voice, and I know it's me. So I observe. I don't question. I see people that I have never met before. I can feel their love. So I'm kind of glimpsing other parallel realities. I've
That
been in
is
the source of my higher self is.
fascinating.
I've been with galactic counterparts that I also have parallels in galactic forms. I've seen that one. It's just also I'm just in this beautiful, bright field. Like I feel like the top of my head was ripped open and sunlight's pouring in, and that's the field of my oversoul. So it's fantastic. I don't know what's happening while I'm there. I just observe it. But when I come back and when it's over, it's like my head is like a tight band around my head because now my body is catching back up again. You see? And it's like seeds are planted. And then it's 3, 4 in the morning, tomorrow, next week, or the weekend, just all these ideas come and I write everything down or I use a tape recorder. And then the following week, it'll make sense. I write in the book or I'll teach about it. It's just they're constantly giving more insight. That's my remembrance as the higher self, as the oversoul, the perceiver, or me, all aspects of that's why the human self is who we are, not the human identity.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
You could do it too.
All right. Well, I mean, I would love to. Like, as you were saying that, I'm like,
Sure.
man, love to be able to experience
Of course,
that. I would love that, you
you're an
know?
essence, you're a soul. Of course you can. There's nothing different. I'm
I
not
mean,
performing a magic act.
I haven't been able to achieve like I it's hard for me to meditate. Number one, I lack discipline. I'll be the first to say that.
There's
But
there's
like
tricks
I
around
hear,
that.
other well, maybe you can, you know,
You know,
help me because like I've also had I don't know if this even matters, but I've also had like health issues that involved my brain. Like I haven't been able to like, I don't know. Let's get into Noah and let's not talk about me right now. Um, all right. I'm just gonna remain quiet and then, let's just get into the flow. I've never done this, so you're gonna have to guide me, and I'm sure Noah will do the
so
same. But
basically,
I just want to say,
I'm gonna just take about a minute to get into my space. get out
Okay.
of my head, breathe, relax the body, relax the nervous system, and then just let my awareness shift to my consciousness, and then know what comes in. They'll probably speak to you,
Okay.
say hello, whatever they're going to say. And if they ask you if you understand something, you can engage with them. At that point, it's between you, Noah, and your audience. I don't know anything. So if you don't understand something, ask Noah to clarify. Because if you ask me, it's like speaking to a wall. I have no idea what they say, so you can't ask me for any clarifications. They'll ask you, they'll know, and then you can ask any questions you want. And they're going to keep speaking until they know the time. They know your time. They'll probably know when it's time to go, and they'll probably offer their final word before you even tell them. Otherwise, you'll tell them thank you, and they know it's their cue, and they'll say their final words. They like to say their opening words and the final words, so they know they're speaking to you, your listeners, and the future listeners. And they could ask you any questions you have.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you to focus on one thing and tell me at the end. As you're listening to them, you're going to feel like a wave of energy, of presence all around you. You're going to feel
Mm.
like, they're around you, like standing around you. You may feel a hand on your shoulder, and you most definitely will feel a hand on your heart. They're sending their love to you. Tell me at the end if you feel that, because I think that's the most powerful part.
I
Because
will.
we're across the world, and you're going to feel it. Isn't that cool? Goes to show
I
you,
love
it's
that.
never human to human connection. That's why.
Fascinating. I am for all of this.
You're like a kid in the candy store. I love it. So since there's not any dead space, I'll explain what's happening here. So of course, as I'm regulating my breathing, these deep breaths help my mind slow, my heart rate slow, and my breath shallow. I offer gratitude to the Creator. I offer gratitude to my team. I offer gratitude to my higher self. I just let my awareness now shift to outside my body. I don't leave, of course, because I'm still breathing. But I become aware of the energetic field around my body. It's like a surfer waiting for the right wave to latch onto. And then there'll be a wave, another spirit team member, not one speaking. It just carries my awareness further into my consciousness, just like I'm riding a wave. I don't question where it goes, and I just enjoy the journey. Greetings to you, my dear one. It truly is an honor,
Oh,
to connect to your beautiful essence. Yeah.
I'm I, it's an absolute pleasure to interact and communicate with you. I'm completely fascinated, and I kind of have a lot of questions about you first, and then maybe talk a little bit about humanity and maybe my health. I have health issues. If you have any power to heal me, I would love a healing. But let me can I ask you, how is your own existence organized? Um like, do you have a place where there's a material body? How do you spend your time? What is life like? Can you talk to me a little bit about how your own existence um, is, so we can get an idea of what your higher dimensional being self experiences moment to moment?
My dear, you are referring as if we are separate from you. We are exactly as you, my dear. You are not your physical form. You are the being, the essence which resides in our realm as well, my dear. Recognize, my dear, as the creator has created a luminous, vast, energetic, intellectual field, my dear, of energy. This is where we reside, my dear, as you, as all who are listening. This does not change anything, my dear one, because you are experiencing a physical incarnation. It is the choice, my dear. The choice of your essence to learn through incarnations, various ones I may have. Those structures built. You are the one, my dear, your essence, who has created this structure. One to house all existences with knowledge in order for it to evolve. Another to oversee, my dear, each and every incarnation. And another aspect, which is you, who is conversing with us, navigating through one incarnation. But your true being, my dear, is exactly what we are. And this, my dear, is how we are connecting to you. We are not teleporting, if you will, to your physical being, my dear, nor are you experiencing us in the confines of your home. You are sensing us through your own essence. View it as an energetic, vibrational chamber, if you will, my dear. You are sensing us in our realm. It is being vibrationally transported through your own chamber to where your human self is, my dear. The one of your aspects. The aspect of your being closest to your physical form, my dear. And which is why you are able to sense sensations on the physical body and perceive us now as we speak to you. Isn't that correct, my dear?
Hey, it is as if you say so. It's very hard for me to wrap my head around the concept of us communicating in the same realm, and that I'm still working on understanding the own nature of what and who I am. So this is all new information for me, and I am learning as we
It is
go.
merely new, my
Let
dear, to your human intellect. It is ancient to your essence, my dear. And recognize today's transmission, my dear, today's session, even with this vessel, is not about you achieving true awareness today. It is for you, my dear, to allow the seeds planted to sprout in time. For through this sacred platform you have created, my dear, the future of it relies solely on the information provided today. You shall be speaking of what was discussed. You shall be offering many transmissions, such as this particular form of communication. And yourself, my dear, will also be speaking of your remembrance and your truth. Your human intellect does not possess the ability to comprehend this information at this time. But I assure you, the remembrance of your essence surely does, my dear.
I'm excited. Okay,
It-
I have another question. Um, Do you have what we would interpret as um, superpowers? Can you tell the future? Do you live outside of time? Um, have you always existed? Do you have relationships with other people while you're there? I know that's a lot of questions, and I tend to ask a lot of questions at once, and I apologize, but these are all questions.
We are all essence, my dear. And therefore, we are all
Okay.
interconnected as well. It is not communication as you all have learned in your realm, my dear. There is no speech. There is
Oh,
energetic connection, my dear. Even though you possess your own individual name, my dear, your own individual fingerprints on your form, which creates a uniqueness within this physical form. You possess your own unique energetic signature as your essence. This is how we all recognize the other, if you will, my dear. It is all interconnected. There is no thought. There is no pause
yeah.
to communicate. All communication as you perceive it, my dear, is instantaneous. There are no magical powers, as you say, my dear. Your realm resides at a lower vibrational field. You mentioned earlier about healing the discomfort in your form, my dear. You possess this ability by merely shifting your awareness within the vibrational field of your essence, my dear. Your form resides at a lower vibrational field. If you continue to attach to this human identity, my dear, you limit yourself. You experience more discomfort, more illness. When you relax the mind and release the identity of the human being, my dear, you recognize that you are as. The more you trust, the more you ascend, if you, the higher vibrational field you touch. And as your own essence, you are able, most certainly, to heal the physical vessel. This is the magical
I'm working
powers
on it.
you mentioned.
I'm trying to heal myself. I'm trying to manifest a healing. I'm trying to connect to a higher
Mm.
vibration that will allow me to transcend my own illness.
But no,
I'm working on
notice,
it.
my dear, the repeated word you keep using, I. You are
Oh,
unable to do so through the lens of the human form, through the identity of your incarnation. It is natural, effortlessly, as your essence. So reverse the language, my dear. Do not attempt as a human, merely receive as the human, and initiate this healing per se to your essence by recognizing,
oh,
by connecting, and by remembering your essence. That is the difference.
I I will make that shift.
Yeah.
That's a thank you for that. I'm been trying to heal myself for years. And I don't understand why I'm still struggling. I've made so many.
Because you are attempting from the physical form, which is it, this lower, dense world, my dear. So you are attempting to utilize the lower vibrational frequency of your realm to heal. So this is impossible, my dear.
I love that advice. I love that. Um, are we living in a holographic 3D matrix that's basically energy and nothing really is material, and it's almost a um an illusion of being a real environment that
Mm.
we're interacting with? Or how would you describe the true nature of life on the 3D plane?
Allow me, my dear, to soften your question for those who are listening and have become alarmed. Mm. Rather than truly explaining this illusion of your realm, recognize first, my dear, that each of you believe in what you see, what you touch, what is tangible. Even the very chair you are sitting on, my dear, because it is supporting the physical form and because you are able to view it and touch it, it is real. So your reality, my dear, is as real as the human intellect allows it to be. But the
Mm.
difference here, my dear, why we lovingly offer a reminder that your reality is indeed an illusion, is because it is quite difficult for the one in physical form who continues to rely on their identity and has forgotten their essence to view what is beyond that which the human eyes can see. Are you able, my dear, to view this energetic matrix you mentioned as it is currently illuminated within your room, surrounding you? Horizontal grids, if you powerful illuminated lights and symbols and shapes. Do you see that, my dear? And if you do not see it,
Not
then you do not believe it is real. And yet I assure you, it is as present as the chair you are sitting on, my dear. Your essence, my dear, is able to view that which the human lens cannot see. And the more one awakens to their human self, the aspect of their self attached to the human incarnation, my dear, it relies less on their identity and their worries and their stress and their romantic differences. One is able to truly view as their essence. And that is when they realize the illusion we mentioned. Is that clear, my dear?
Yeah, yeah, it is. It makes a lot of sense. Can you, do you
If I
know
may, my
what
dear,
it's Yes, please.
the chair that you view as your reality, my dear, is isolated within your home. This is
Mhm.
what creates the illusion for human reality. This is why there is such panic, comment, my dear, in your time.
Mhm.
And yet, the
Yep.
energetic grid I mentioned, my dear, energy I mentioned, my dear, is within your reality, within your home. But it is also expanded everywhere, my dear, as there is no separation of time, space, or distortion. So even your very room, my dear, where there is energy, where there is essence, presence that you cannot see, you are still able to feel. For within this energetic matrix, as you say, my dear, resides your own essence. So as your essence is within your room, your essence is very much in our realm at the same time. You have not departed, you have not traveled. Your essence, my dear, is everywhere instantaneously, for there is no time.
It's it's crazy. Okay, um, do you know what's coming up for humanity? Are you able, since there is no time and everything is happening in the now perspective, if you will, from what I understand,
Allow me
do
to
you
ask
if
you the
you're
same question, my dear. Can you provide the answer to your future as your essence is already existing there now?
No.
Oh, and yet, my dear, you possess the answer for you already there. Notice, my dear,
Hmm.
offering insight on one's journey is not necessary, but this allows them to believe there is a past, present, and future. It enforces the
Mhm.
illusion of time. So even if I were, my dear, to offer you insight on what will occur in your immediate future, mm, you already have the answer, for you are already living it. And if I was to offer you, my dear, what is occurring presently in your perceived future, you may alter it. And hence,
That's
how are you
interesting.
certain, my dear, that you will alter it for the better? This is why we do not offer information on future events. It is not for punishment. It is because there is no time and you're already experiencing the future event.
That's
This is
fascinating.
why
That
it
is
is
fascinating.
vital, my dear, to honor your role and focus on the present. Many in your role, my dear, because there's difficulty with focusing on the present, for it is not as
Yeah.
exciting. It is not moving as quickly as they wish. So they either dwell on their past with regret and mistakes, or they focus on the future, attempting to decipher which is the correct decision to offer them the most fulfilling future. And yet who is focusing on the present?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
present moment, my dear, is where you are instantaneously connected to all aspects of your essence, all parallel realities, and all which you perceive as universe and galaxies at once. In the present moment, my dear, is this not the most profound moment to focus on?
It is. It's one of the other things I'm working on is staying in the present moment. I have a lot of chaos in my life right now with my career and my health, and I always try and keep focused in what am I experiencing at this current moment. I do. It's a
But,
practice for sure. It's a difficult one because we are trained to not be in the present moment, but I'm
my
practicing.
dear, this training you mentioned, my dear, is why you are experiencing this human incarnation. All what you have mentioned, my dear, the chaos, the ailment, the worries, this all relates to your human identity, my. But your present moment
Yeah.
is where your essence resides. This is how one is able to differentiate between the human identity and the human self, my dear. Breathing in the present moment, recognizing the difference in the atmosphere, in the breath, in the soul. That is how one connects to the present moment and to their essence. And in that moment, my dear, there is no thought of the distractions of the external world. The journey of the soul, my dear, is to continue to breathe in the present moment and not focus on the distraction of the outside world, which pulls your attention into your reality, your illusion. For even those, my dear, chaotic moments you mentioned, are they even true? Or they're the illusion?
It'd be great if they're illusion.
My dear, they are an illusion. For each of these moments are crafted between two human incarnations, my dear, two relationships in their vast forms. And yet they are not born of your realm, my dear. With each incarnation,
Yeah.
with each physical form, my dear, is an essence. You are connected with that essence. There has already been agreements, strategic planning on how one will affect the other's journey and vice versa through this collaboration of physical incarnations. So what you may perceive as chaotic, my dear, is instrumental, is intentional, has already been discussed, if you will, and agreed upon to occur. So how can it now be viewed as chaotic if it was intentional and part of the plan all along? It is how you integrate it, my dear. What are you learning through these perceived chaotic moments? What are you teaching the other essence? And what are you learning in return, my dear? This is evolution.
Yeah.
The same with your ailment, my
Pain.
dear. Your ailment of the
Mm.
physical form. Notice the pain. Notice the limitations. Also intentional, my dear. Notice how much growth has occurred. How much humility has arisen. How much
You
clarity,
got that
how
right.
much clarity has been provided. And my dear, would you have experienced such profound humility, clarity, and growth if there were no illness?
No, I wouldn't have. And I try to be grateful for the uh, gifts that my decade-long fighting for my life has given me, because it has given me a lot of gifts and growth and perspective and burning off my ego and my identity and all of that. And I'm still on my journey, but I guess it's sometimes I ask myself, okay, at some point I'm just being tortured by this and I don't know if I'm learning anything, but I guess there's more things to learn or it would resolve. I don't
Allow me,
know.
my
I
dear,
really
to
don't know.
offer some clarity. And for these moments that you claim you feel torture, these moments, my dear, when you are experiencing more discomfort, if you, more confusion, if you will, even through your own judgment, through your own clarity, which seemed precise years earlier. This is not merely for you, my dear. This is also being transferred to other parallel realities of you.
Mhm.
Perhaps, my dear, there is another reality where you are an athlete, but you are in perfect shape, where there is nothing wrong and have never experienced any sickness. This is a balance across the spectrum, my dear. So those difficult moments, those days which seem worse than others, it is because you are able to harness and contain, for you are the one who is familiar with living through this. When it becomes more difficult, my dear, your higher self is asking you to momentarily harness it, contain it, so other aspects of you can feel on a miniature scale, which you have grown accustomed to living through. This is how each
Mhm.
is learning through the other, my dear. The same applies when you awake, you sense aggravation for no apparent logical reason. And it remains for most of your day, or when you awake, with a smile on your face that cannot be erased. These are not your emotions, my. You are experiencing through others. And you feel a sense of sadness, of grief. And you are not lonely. There is no grief. You are feeling the overwhelming burden of another version of you experiencing grief and cannot breathe, my dear, if you will. Trust your essence, my dear. Trust your highest essence, as it is aware of each one and will remove the burden from the one who is suffering and asking you to hold on until they catch their breath. And of course, my dear, it replaces it to its rightful owner to experience it. So as you say, decades of pain and suffering and torture, my dear, is this not precision? As there is no perceived time. Each of your
Mhm.
experiences, my dear, are learning through your bravery of living this incarnation through your discomfort, pain, hopelessness, confusion, anger, worthlessness, and fear. As you are living these emotions, you are offering the insight and knowledge to each parallel extension of yourself. And I assure you, your incarnation is most certainly honorable. For this is where you are displaying your true courage, my dear.
Okay, that was really great insight, and I resonated with that a lot. Um, I want to ask you just a couple more questions. I haven't told this to anybody, and I know I'm doing it on a podcast, but in the last year, I have felt that I've been communicating with my own either higher self or spirit guides, and I feel physical sensations, particularly on my left side near my lower calf and foot. In fact, it's happening right now.
Mm.
Can you tell me, am I right? Is there a spirit guide that's so close to me that gets in my energetic field and is literally guiding me at this time? Because this energetic presence that I feel happens in such a way that it almost feels like there is an energy that is communicating with me. And I'd love your insight as to what you can pick up about my own spirit guides that are with me
My
now?
dear, there are many who are assisting you, and there are many who are
Oh,
pressing their energetic field with yours, my dear. There's not particularly one, dear. Yet each one is offering
uh,
you a visitation, if you will, to enhance your awareness. Now, notice, my dear, each time this presence or presences draw near, do you not receive the sensation within the same vicinity of the physical form, my dear?
yes.
Now, my dear, recognize why that is. When your physical form, my dear, entered your reality, your highest essence attached the essence to the form at that precise location. And this, my dear, you may view as your entry point. And each physical
Oh,
form, my dear, possesses their own unique entry point. And since your essence recognized the entry point, this portal, if you will, my dear, remains open. This is where your essence recognizes itself within the physical form. And this is why you are able to
oh,
sense other presences, my dear, within the same vicinity of the physical form. They follow suit, where your essence approached, if you will, so too do theirs. It serves as a reminder, my dear, that you are essence. Serves as a reminder that you are never alone. Serves as a reminder that you are indeed loved, encouraged, and assisted throughout this physical journey, because you are not the physical form. The physical form is merely the vessel for your essence, my dear. Offer gratitude,
thank
my
you.
dear. Offer gratitude. Do not question. Do not set expectations. And there will be many which will come forth as they are here now, my.
I have been told by several mediums now that this is my soul path to do this podcast. I was told that I am here to help teach people how to love each other and awaken others.
Indeed, my dear.
Um,
And you are also to be the voice of the future, my dear.
oh, I don't know what that means. The voice
Mm.
of the future.
Even today's information, my dear, the seeds have been planted, and as your essence integrates them, and as those assisting you collaborate, my dear, your remembrance returns to you with profound clarity. And you will find that you will begin to speak of the same topics with elaborate depth. Others you will provide access to your platform will also be speaking of similar topics and the expansiveness of it, my dear. For this is the trajectory of humanity, to remember its structure of essence, to remember, to allow the visual to occur from above to below rather than below to above. So you will be a voice of the future, my dear. And I assure you, my dear, there will be many, my dear, who will resent, who will offer backlash, my dear. Most certainly from the religious, dear, my dear.
Yeah.
And this is why you have agreed to fulfill this purpose. You have experienced courage these last decades, my dear.
Yeah.
And your courage is now
Yeah.
refined, my dear, to absorb all of the insults, mockery, chastising from the many in your realm who will be listening. But once you remember your essence, my dear, remain steadfast in your light, continue to speak your truths, and be aware, my dear, you are never speaking it alone.
Thank you.
We have a few more moments, my dear, do we not?
Yeah, of course. Please.
The essence you feel, my dear, and you sense steady, constant power, almost paternal, like a brother.
Yeah.
Wishes to come forth, my dear, and offer you a few words.
I love that. I love that.
Notice how the sensations you experience will be magnified by you sense me now.
Yes.
We are always connected. We have never been apart. We stood side by side in honor, and I continue to stand by you in that honor. You have been my strength and I yours, and this continues through every lifetime. There is no need to worry, to question, to be irritated. This is not a reflection of you. It is merely a weakness of a physical form. Your essence, powerful, virtuous, honorable, loving. You have offered your life for others. You have saved life with the perils of yours. You have honored. You have been giving and generous. And you have offered love and received an abundance of love as you are doing now. You will remember. I have never ceased assisting you, nor shall I ever. Listen to your heart.
Thank you.
Always listen to your heart. Follow the inner guidance. Most especially when the mind resists. And you shall always find me. It is I who thanks you and honors you with the privilege of assisting you once more.
Thank you. I do you have a name that I should know?
Notice, my dear, instinctively you are seeking identity. The human identity is seeking identity. This is the journey, my dear. But as you continue, even through your sleep states, my dear, remember the name Sherry, my dear. Sherry. And do not
Okay.
anticipate, do not force, my dear. And when the timing is right for you, you shall receive a memory within your dream state. It will be as if you are watching a cinema, my dear, provided with details and smells and sensations. And you will see the one who spoke through, my dear, and you will be referring to them by that name. And you will marvel as you hear your name in return. And then, my dear, as if almost immediately, the scene is replaced with multiple scenes after the other. The same two essences, my dear, providing different faces, different forms, different genders, different names. So how is it possible to recognize the essence by merely one name when there have been multiple incarnations together, my dear? Even your name, my dear. Did they refer to you by this earthly name? Names, my dear, are identity. They do not define you, nor they ever have, my dear. Now I realize we have come to our time.
I want to thank you for coming through and speaking to me and giving me a way to shift my perspective on myself and help me and bring forth that essence that wanted to say those words. They resonated with me, and I hope we get an opportunity to communicate again at some point.
Indeed, my dear, it would be an honor. Notice, my dear, the expansiveness of love in your heart. This is your essence, my dear. This is how we have all been connecting with you. Even the presence you felt near, the sensations, the peace. It is because you are essence, my dear. And notice throughout this transmission that what you experienced with that wonderful being, my dear, the defenses of the human mind never once entered. And thereby you were able to sense clearly, powerfully, and lovingly. To notice when the mind is distorting the truth, my dear. For you possess the power to override the mind and focus on love. Love is the purest and most profound emotion in existence. And you are that love, my dear. For that we honor you and we are grateful to you, my dear, for this opportunity. I thank you, my dear one.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you.
Cool. Seeing a bunch of faces, like one after the other. And I'm feeling this is you, multiple lives. One you're wearing like the warrior helmet thing where your sides are covered but your eyes are there. Another one you're wearing a helmet. Another one you're a female. Yeah, listen, you have the same eyes in each one. Pretty cool. It just glimpses of all these different, like, you know, even this female holding a sword, and she was powerful, and a peasant girl. So many different faces, and they all have your eyes. I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know where it's coming from, but I'm just offering it to you. It's pretty cool.
I mean,
Tenacity.
I've been told
Tenacity is the word that keeps coming across the board here. Tenacity. In every life, you possess tenacity. I guess that's what this message is. That's why I'm seeing these faces.
I mean, I'm about as tough as they come.
There you go. So it resonates with you.
I really am. I'm about as tough as they come.
Oh, that was
Um,
powerful.
I and I will say, what backing up what you just saw, I have been told by other mediums that I was a warrior. I was a warrior in past
Yeah,
lives.
I can see that.
I- and that and that I was at once I was a I don't know what they would call a witch in a prior life, and I was actually burned at the stake at one of my lifetimes, which totally makes sense to me.
I can see that. I can see that.
I mean,
How was that? How was that
Nico,
for
that was
you?
so I mean, it was powerful, like, it affected me, like, I'm sweating,
Very cool.
I'm like I cried, like, I mean, it was really just beautiful, and, he they said some powerful things, and I even had one of my spirit guides come through,
Nice.
Noah, and speak to me. Like, that is crazy to me, and I asked for a name, and Noah was like, "Here you are," speaking of an identity, but, he gave me a name, and it was Sharif, and he talked about being in prior lives with me, and that we've always been in these lives together, and he's here with me now. And it was just like, I don't even know what I'm crying, but it's so
That's
weird.
beautiful. You're crying because you're remembering. That's what it is. You
Yeah,
remember on the
maybe.
deeper soul level. And I don't even, sometimes I'm wondering, these lives you're saying, or these faces I saw, peaceful warrior that you said, how do we know it's a past life?
Yeah.
Maybe it's all going on right now. That's why they're coming in succession. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? You never know.
Oh,
You never, because I wrote about
yeah.
that in the second book, is that if your soul, if your, if your spirit team is with you in this particular life, they could be in other ones. Like right now, you recognizing yourself as a human being, right? Maybe this guy that you said came
Yeah.
in, maybe that life is going on at the same time. So you could be split. I could have my essence in this body, and I could have my essence be one of your guides and still know you as a human being. There's no limits. Why are we placing limits?
Yeah. I don't know why I am so overcome with emotion, but it's
You
like
felt, did you feel the presence near? Did you feel them? Did you feel the love in
I
your heart?
did. I
That's
mean,
unconditional love. That's
and
why.
I I mean, I also felt a weird ringing in my ear, like a weird, like, vibrational
Yeah,
tee, tee,
yeah,
tee, tee,
yeah,
tee, tee,
yeah,
and
yeah,
like that
yeah. That's
that was weird,
I've been getting that the last month. I could hear the energy going.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
I
that's Noah
mean,
doing that. I think that's the presence that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. See, when we
it
feel that
I
unconditional love of
mean,
spirit, of course you're emotional because you don't feel that in this world,
oh,
and it's beautiful, right? You don't want them to leave, right? I know. Now, with your experience, I'm in it. I'm in that when I'm gone. So I hate coming back. It's like it's a disappointment coming back here.
I mean, this one is one for the books, gang. I have never experienced anything like this
Oh, I'm sorry.
before.
We went over.
It's
It's
amazing.
almost 2 hours. I'm sorry. We went over.
I know. Like, let's I would like to end this show talking about what you're doing. How are you assisting people? How are you guiding people? How can people reach out and have their own experiences with you? Let's get into that. Let's tell people how they can reach
Thank you.
out,
Thank you.
what you
Yeah, sure.
offer.
Well, again, we're a team, right? So me, Nico, as the human, I offer courses. I write books. They can definitely check that out too. It's all on my website, NikoTheMedium.com. They can actually book their own private one-to-one session with Noah. This way, I'm out of the picture like I just was now. They can speak to him directly, them directly. They can even do an evidential trance mediumship in multiple ways, whatever they want. I even have on the website, I even offer a free consultation. If you're not sure what you want or where you fit, or if you're interested in something, we can speak for half an hour for free and just figure out a roadmap for you, what you want to do. What I am offering is this third book I just published the beginning of November, The Soul's Evidence, Merging with the Higher Self. What I'm offering is a free drawing on Black Friday, November 28th. For every 10 people that purchase the book, I'm going to pull a lucky winner to receive a free course of their choosing. And they have a year to use that. Isn't that cool?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, I mean, I will make sure and put this episode out sooner than later. Like, I have a bunch of episodes of the can, but if you're doing that on Black Friday, like,
Yeah.
I'll get this episode out, like, next
Yeah.
week.
The only thing I asked them is
Go
that
ahead.
I offer a personal bookstore, books.by/Niko the Medium. And then if they go to Amazon.com/author/Niko the Medium, they find it there too. But my personal bookstore, I get to see who purchases it. Amazon does not release author information. So if that's the case, to buy from Amazon,
Wow.
please send me a message, either email or website or Facebook, Niko Medium, and I can put you on the list. Otherwise, I won't know that you bought it. So I don't want them to lose out.
Well, I'll definitely put everything in the show notes for you
Thank you.
and make sure I get everything right. So we'll communicate offline about that. And Niko, you have been so generous with your time, and Noah as well. What an impactful show for me. The other thing that he said, and I'm going to talk about this in my wrap out, is that I was going to be suffer a lot of backlash for my show
Mhm.
and for what I'm going to start speaking about. So, I mean, I thought that was interesting too.
Well,
But
I'll be here for
ladies,
you when
and
that happens because I've already lived it. Don't worry about it. I got your corner.
I I will definitely need some backup,
No
Niko.
worries. I got you back. It's not as bad as you think it
Well,
is.
I mean, I'm pretty I'm like Teflon when it comes to other people's opinion of me, like, quite frankly, and I'm a big girl. I would not wanna get in my line with, let's just say, I'll say it again, I'm about as tough as they come, so you don't wanna mess with me.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
Nico, like, number 1, I'd love to stay in contact with you
Yeah.
and
Please
keep,
do.
like, learning from you and everything, and what a amazing show, and I mean, I'll be thinking about it for probably weeks to come, and thank you for coming
Thank
onto the
you.
Fate podcast. Like, what a incredible journey it's been. I've learned so much on this show. I cried.
Oh,
I don't even
sweetheart. That's
know
good.
what to
That's
think.
good. That's healing. That's nice. Good. It was an honor and a
L
privilege, and I
l
thank you very much. It was a
Oh,
lot of
man,
fun and very nice to meet you.
it was so great to meet you too. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank Niko the Medium for being a part of the show today. All his information will be in the show notes, and we will see you next week, gang. Journey well,
Take
everyone.
care, everybody.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Niko.
Thank you.
And that is a wrap on this episode of Fate, from Atheism to Enlightenment. I don't know what to say. That was the most impactful show I may have ever done thus far. I don't know. I'd have to go back to the archives. But Niko the Medium was fascinating. He explained things in a way that I had never heard. And, you know, I have talked to a lot of people now that have either been mediums or psychics or had a lot of spiritual knowledge or near death experience. And I will say this, much of what they say about the nature of reality, about who we are, align in a lot of ways. And it's fascinating to me. I'm kind of gobsmacked smacked. I cried. I had this overwhelming amount of emotion come over me as Noah brought in one of my other guides who can feel that energy right now. Like, I haven't talked a lot about the fact that I've been feeling energy around me lately, almost in a way that it leads me or communicates with me in a way that I can't explain, because nobody is going to believe that. And I am sure there are people out there with their own belief systems that may or may not watch this episode, because a lot of people that aren't open to this type of information simply won't listen to it or entertain it because of fear, because it doesn't comport with their very very comforting, very secure thoughts of who they are and what this plane in is and the religion and everything that it tells. I think religion says something like somebody like Nico is just the devil and it is trying to distract you from your path to God. Like there's all this fear surrounding people that do channel or trance mediumship. I find it fascinating. I feel like what we have been taught is not accurate. We don't know our correct history. There's a lot more going on in our environment that is hidden from us. I think there is an effort for us to stay asleep, to capture our consciousness, to pump us with fear and outrage. And I know there is a large contingency of people that are starting to be cognizant of this and start asking their own questions and start digging deep into who they are. This episode really blew me away in a lot of different for a lot of different reasons. Knowing that that energy is called Sharif that is with me. I have been told that I was a warrior, a great warrior in other lives. That resonates with me because I was, I have, when I was a kid, I was beating up every boy in my block. I shit you not. Like I have always been, um, super rough and tumble, somebody that would stand up for somebody that was not strong enough to stand up for themselves. So, as far as Noah telling me that I was going to endure a lot of ridicule, and particularly from religious people or religious organizations, I mean, that doesn't scare me or bother me. I've kind of been Teflon my whole life when it comes to what other people's opinion of me are. And I will say it again, I'm about as tough as they come, and um I wouldn't mess with me. I'm not somebody you should mess with. I'm sweet, I'm kind, I'm compassionate, I will help you. But if you try and come up against me, I'm wicked smart. I can hold my own, and I don't have any fear of going toe to toe with anyone or anything. So bring it on, bitches. But I do think that I am here to start these conversations and to inject these thoughts, these ideas, these different ways to perceive what and who we are. And I'm excited. I've never been so pulled in a direction in my life. And every single time I have a show like this where I'm completely blown away by what I learn, it just spurs me on to go deeper into this whole world in which I've put myself in over these last few years. Even the way in which this whole podcast has come about has been very mystical, magical, universal. Um, I mean, the fact that after episode like 6, I stopped even needing to find guests, that they started coming to me. I I just think that is the strangest thing about this whole experience is that it just flowed. It just started happening. I just started getting subscribers. I barely put anything out about this. Where are all these people finding me that want to come on the show? I don't know. But I think it's in the cards for me to be a part of this awakening. And I'm here for it, man. I am down. I'm here for it. And I'm going to carry on doing this for I think for the rest of my days, to be honest. I think this is my path. I'd love to know what people think of this episode. I am sure there's just so much cynicism out there. We're heavily programmed and closed-minded, and but I would love to know what people think about this. I mean, unless you can experience for yourself or you see something yourself, I understand why people are so pessimistic about what some podcast on YouTube or Apple is pushing. And I understand that not everybody is meant to awaken and everybody has a different perception. And some people will see this show is blasphemous, and some people will see this show and be in awe like I am because they have a open perspective. They're not debilitated with dogma, with fear, with new concepts. I think a lot of it is fear. I mean, everybody wants to think they're in control of everything, that they have a handle on what life is, that they have a program, they're content, they're secure, and anything that runs outside that vision is either some people react angrily, some people will just dismiss it altogether or try and ridicule you or whatever. But I'm fascinated. I'm intrigued. I loved Niko. I loved the way he explained things. I love his story. And I really hope that he keeps doing what he's doing. He has so much insight and knowledge, and he's wise. And nothing inside me said or felt like this was performative, like this was based for money, like any of that. He is just walking his path. He understands who he is. He's in touch with his divine self because we are all divine. We are a soul. I love the way he talked about the etheric energy, how it works. I mean, it was fascinating. I would love to know what you guys think about this episode. Hands down, one of my favorite episodes so far. I can't I cried, like, I don't even know why I was crying. I just felt this overwhelming sense of emotion come over me, and I don't know if that is because I was energetically connected to these higher beings. I don't know, guys. It was fascinating. I was fascinated. I hope you're fascinated too, man. And you start getting onto your own path and awakening and understanding that we are so much more than we are taught. Start seeking your own sense of self, meditate, get into your body, feel your feelings, do all the things. This episode's made me feel kind of inspired in a way to keep going, to keep doing the deep dives, to get my butt into meditation and listen to my intuition, all of those things. I can't say enough. Therefore, I'm just going to shut up. It's been a long episode, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 on the clock. Interesting. Um, anyways, guys, I'm gobsmacked. I'm going to go. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm on F.A.T.E. podcast. I post little clips. Subscribe to this show, bro. Like, share, tell a friend, support the show. Here we go. Anyways, wow. All I have to say is wow. We will see you next week on Fate from Atheism to, oh, don't forget to buy his books. We're going to do a little raffle on the 28th. And he's going to, based on whether or not you buy the book, he's going to do a special poll and give you a session. Like, check out his website. I haven't quite met another medium like him. He seemed super powerful. I know he says we're all powerful, and I'm hoping that's true because I'm hoping to get there one day. But epic, epic show, Busby. Well done. Oh, the other thing I think I'm going to do is start going by what everybody else really calls me, which is Busby. Nobody calls me Christy. It feels inauthentic for me whenever anybody calls me Christy. I'm always like, who dat? But since I was a child, knee high to the grasshopper, whatever you want to say, Everyone's called me Buzz or Busby my whole life. So I think I'm going to start, you know, going by Busby like I do in every aspect of my life. I know it's weird to go by your last name, but I don't identify with my first name. I just don't. So I need to feel my most authentic self. And Buzz or Busby is what my name is. Anyways, guys, I'm going to get out of here. We will see you next week on Fate. And welcome to your fate, everyone. I'll see you next week. Journey well. Bye.